Last Sunday, we went deep into how AI is going to impact the business analyst role by 2026. And trust me, if you're someone who's blindly relying on ChatGPT or any other LLM, this session is going to be your reality check. So, in this video, you will be able to understand what AI can actually do for the business analyst, see where BS still add irreplaceable value, and the most important, calm down that AI FOMO you keep feeling on Instagram and LinkedIn. So after you watch, drop your feedback in the comments, and also you can share your email address in case if you want all the resources, prompts, and the framework that I'm going to cover in this session. So all of you enjoy the session. Let's start building your top 1% AI ready BA mindset. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Sharing my screen. All right, so we'll get started in 2 minutes. I'll start the timer. Let's make sure everyone have joined and we'll get started. All right, 2 minutes of wait and we'll get started. Just a quick check if all of you can hear my voice loud and clear, all of you. All of you can respond in the chat option. Is my voice audible to all of you? Loud and clear, all of you? All right. Thank you, Prathamesh, Rajinder, Anand, Nandini, Sumesh, Anupreet, Abhishek, Hamveer, Ramachandran, Srishti, Radhika, Nilesh. Thanks all for joining. So meanwhile, others are joining. I have a quick question. My question is, as far as today's 2 hours of session is concerned, what is one of your biggest expectation from this AI BA Accelerator session? So you can just tell me one of your biggest expectation from today's session we are having, all of you. Let me see if we have time. I'll also try to put some effort on that side, if that is not as per my agendas. What is one of your biggest expectation from today's 2 hours of session? All of you. Okay, Anupreet said to get interview calls. What else? How to cope with AI being business analyst. Awesome. Thank you, Sumesh. Prathamesh said, I'm into career transition from banking to BA. Nilesh said, how can we become more better in BA job than others? We'll talk about that top 1% BA mindset, Nilesh. That's a very relevant question you asked. To save my job is what Prajwal said. Rajinder is saying, BA role relevance in AI age and how to leverage the tech to stay relevant in the market. Rajinder will talk about how to transition to techno-functional role using AI. We'll talk about that. How AI will help us to be more productive. We'll definitely talk about that, Nandini. Leveraging AI in daily BA work. Transition from sales to BA. Cool. How to stay relevant and go with AI. Job security. Okay, I think these are very relevant expectation all of you are having. Okay, so I think last 30 seconds, we'll make sure everyone has joined and we'll get started. Last 30 seconds. Another expectation is to learn more about AI fusion with BA. Sure. Add-on skill required for BA AI in banking domain. How do we collect requirement? Coming from IT background, 3-year student applying for internship in BA but not getting job. Okay, cool. Functional business analyst to AI business analyst. All right, so team, I think we'll get started with today's agenda. Let me go to the presentation mode. Allow me a minute. I'll just try to. A quick second. I'm just trying to disable a few options at your end. Give me one quick minute. All right. Thanks for your patience. Let's get started. So I welcome all of you to AI B Accelerator, where again, the expectation is to understand how we can upskill ourselves to ensure that we all of us are AI ready for year 2026. So what are the agendas? I'll be focusing part of today's 2 hours of discussion. We'll go ahead, we'll talk about, I think this is one of our question 30% of you had, that how are we going to ensure our job security. So in today's agendas, like the first thing we'll talk about is role clarity and job security. What all skill enhancement and upskilling is required? What is going to be the practical implementation of AI, followed by ethical considerations, something to do with guardrails and all, followed by integration of AI with BA jobs. So these are the agendas we have planned for today's discussion for 2 hours of engaging session. So all of you, I have a quick question. It is about the AI FOMO. So let me disable my video so that all of you are able to focus on the real content without getting distracted. All of you, please pay attention. Look at this. I have a quick question. All of you, please pay attention. I'm observing most of you are consuming tons of AI content nowadays. And that is where it is very obvious that you are in the AI FOMO, fear of missing out. So I'm going to give you a quick activity. And the activity says, you have to go through whatever jargons that I mentioned on the screen. And the expectation from all of you is that you have to identify out of these given jargons, what are the keywords which are relevant for you as a business analyst. And having that said, just to make sure that all of you are connecting the dots of what my expectation is from all of you, let's talk about a project on which BAs are mapped. Let's talk about the IT project. And then I'll again take you back to the same screen, from where we started this discussion. So all of you, please pay attention. Let's say, if you talk about any project, any IT project on which you are working as a business analyst, the observation says that as far as your IT team is concerned, there can be dev, UI UX, architects, business analyst, project manager, product owner, scrum master. So what is your observation? It is not only you as a business analyst who's working in those IT teams. There are also other key players involved as far as their roles and responsibilities and their contribution in that project is concerned. Now, my question to all of you, if I talk about all these jargons, or to be very specific, all these project artifacts or deliverables, my question to all of you, out of these 6 options, what do you think is the relevant for business analyst as far as the deliverable or project artifacts are concerned? And all of you can just let me know with a serial number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what is expected out of business analyst as far as this listing is concerned? And then I will take you through that AI listing so that all of you are able to connect the dots. All of you, give it a try. And I want each one of you to respond. Only then you'll be able to understand. And this is going to be very eye-opening session for all of you. That is my commitment. Whatever confusions you have around AI and all, I will make sure in these 2 hours, I'm going to clarify those. So don't worry about that. But for you to go there, important that you are first understanding the basics, the prerequisites, and then you will be able to understand the concepts that I'm going to deliver in a while. Okay. Now, team, I can observe that a couple of suggestions coming and all that these are the expectations and all. Now, all of you, I will not go ahead and talk about all these deliverables. That is not the agenda of today's session. But if I talk about architecture diagram, we all of us are aware, we agree that if I talk about software requirement specification, there might be the chance that in a SRS, we might map architecture diagram. However, as far as architecture diagram is concerned, this is an expectation from architects. Similarly, if I talk about source code document or TDD, this cannot be a core expectation from a business analyst. Similarly, if I talk about Gantt chart, this is going to be expectation from a project manager. So team, how many of you are able to understand that when it comes to all these deliverables and project artifact, all of these are not essentially important for business analysts to be aware? All of you, are you clear on this thought process? Yes or no in the comment, if you're able to connect the dots. All of you, are we clear on this? That all these are not the precise expectation from business analyst, because there are different members or the internal team involved as far as your IT project is concerned. Now, let me ask you the same question from an AI perspective. And now this is going to be very, very eye-opening for all of you. Now look at this. Let me show you this. Again, my question from all of you is that, tell me, for you as a business analyst, starting from 1 to 8, what all is essential to be aware and what is not going to make sense. So first, let's talk about what is going to make sense for you as a business analyst as far as these AI keywords are mentioned. And you can just mention the serial number, 1, 3, 5, 7, whatever you feel. So I can see 1 and 4. 4 is the most common that I can see. 4 and 7. Expect 5. Okay, accept 5, my bad. Jhansi said 4, another 4. Syed said 7. 1, 3, 4, 8. 4. What else? I want all of you take 30 seconds of your time. Absolutely okay. Come back with your response. What jargons are making sense for a business analyst? That is my precise question to all of you. Think about it, all of you. Take your time. Last 15 seconds. And I will request all of you, make sure you are responding. Only once you are responding, you will be able to understand the context. Or else you can drop off from the session. It won't make sense to just, again, sit silent and observe the discussion. Be part of this session that we are doing. Only then you can expect some results. Or else it doesn't make sense to waste your 2 hours of time today. You can do it some more meaningful thing instead joining my program. Okay, cool. So I can see a couple of responses coming in. By end of today's session, you will get a clarity on what jargons are going to make a lot of sense. Now, to start with, let me take you through another direction of thought process, all of you. Let me leverage AI to plan your date, all of you. So what I'm trying to do now is, I am trying to use AI for planning your date. So look at the problem statement or look at the prompt that I'm going to feed to any of the LLMs, large language model, any of those. So look at this. It says, recommend me a cafe near Minakshi Mall, Banerghatta Road for date tonight that is below 5,000 INR for 2%. My question to all of you, my question is, how many of you agree that this prompt is going to help me with my expectation of planning my date using AI? How many of you think that it can come up with a meaningful output and we can rely on that? Or maybe you're using similar use cases for AIs and all, like maybe some other use cases, planning your holiday, your trip, whatsoever. So how many of you think that this is going to be meaningful, the output that we're going to get? How many of you think that it is going to be meaningful? that we can use AI for this purpose? Team, only if you'll respond, I'll be able to help you with today's session. Else, drop off. Absolutely okay. I'm okay with 10 members also. The only expectation is you should be responsive. So only option you have is either be responsive or please drop off. So my question, how many of you think that this prompt is going to be meaningful as far as our problem statement is concerned? That is, AI can definitely help us in planning our date with the prompt that I'm using. Okay, so I can see a couple of you are saying it can be more specific, and a couple of you are saying that yes, prompt should be more clear, but I think it can be used for similar purposes and all that. Now, team, all of you might be thinking that why are we doing this discussion? Because I am about to tell you how does LLMs hallucinate. So I'm going to talk about the concept of LLM hallucination, and for that I am trying to give you this example. So all of you, think about this scenario, the one prompt that I have written on screen. So let's say you ask ChatGPT, suggest a nice cafe near Meenakshi Mall, and it confidently recommended you a good place, a great vibe, great coffee, and you didn't cross-check the location. You just sent the location to your date partner. Now, imagine she reached 10 minutes early, and all of a sudden, there's a message that pops up to your screen, and the message says, I am at the location, but there's no cafe. Not even look at the problem statement. The location that you have sent to your partner have arrived early, and now the message you have on your phone is that I am at the location, but there's no cafe. My question, can this be possible? Yes or no? Let me know, team. Can this be possible that whatever suggestion that was given by GPT, the location is not there? Can there be a possibility? There can 100 be the possibility of this, and that is what you call AI hallucination. And what is AI hallucination? The model sounds sure, but the answer is completely wrong. So team, the question is why that hallucination happened. The question is why? Why? That is the question. Because team, you need to understand. When it comes to any of the LLMs that you're using, let's talk about ChatGPT for now. Understand, ChatGPT is not actually checking the real world like Maps or Zomato. It is just going to predict text that sound right based on the pattern in its training data. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you look at any of these LLMs that you're using, the job of this LLM is to make you happy. So when I say, to make you happy, this is trained to give you response, which is based on the training data and all. So whenever you try to feed the prompt, it is going to predict the next keyword, and then it is going to come up with some response. But when it comes to whether the output is going to be meaningful, on which you can 100% rely, that is what you call is hallucination. And then I'm going to explain you this with one of a BA relevant example, that how GPTs are hallucinating and what is the best practice that we can use, so that when you are using GPTs and all, there are certain guardrails that you can keep in place, so that the response that you are getting, you can rely on those responses. Now team, let me ask you a question. Even if you are using the most recent model of ChatGPT, let's talk about model 5.1. Can any one of you guess and tell me, when it comes to the data feed, what is the latest date up to which this model is trained with the information? Any guesses, anyone? The latest date up to which this LLM model is trained with all that information. Anyone? One of you said real time. Absolutely no, Siddesh. That is exactly what I'm trying to make you realize. That is where you should be understanding the concepts, vectors and all later point in time, that what can be those plugins that we can use later point in time. But anyways, as of now, my question, can any one of you guess which date? Give it a try, all of you. So if you are using the most recent model, this is trained up to June 2024. Now you might question me saying, but Dibanshu, in that case, let's say I'm going to ask this to the GPT saying, who won Bihar election? And again, the result just came few hours back. Now my question, how many of you think that this is going to give a right response? Who won Bihar election? Is it going to give you the right response? Yes or no? Yes or no? The answer to that is 100% it is going to give you the real result. Because you need to understand, it is not always driven with the faded data or the information. It is also going ahead and checking the information on a few websites. So when it is going ahead and checking all those websites, pretty easy, less than 2 seconds and it can give you the response, less than 1 second and it can give you the response. And that is why this is very, very important for you to understand what is the limitation, what is the challenges, what are the areas on which you can rely, and what are the areas or parameters on which you cannot rely. So that is where, team, one of a thought process that I want to give all of you today is, all of you, okay, so let us try to use this feed, again, this prompt that I have, and let's try to, okay, let me go back to this presentation mode. And what I'm doing is I'm going to copy paste this and let me use GPT or Gemini. Okay, let me use GPT for this. All of you, look at this. Make sure, team, you're observing. So moment I'm going to feed this to the GPT. Recommend me a cafe near Meenakshi Mall, Bannerghatta Road for day to night. That is below this. Now this came up with a few recommendations and all. Look at this. Location, MBS, budget, whatsoever. Now, let us talk about something which is going to be meaningful for you as a business analyst. So team, okay, before I talk about what are those strategies we can have in place or how we can try to improvise the prompt in a way that it is not hallucinating. My quick question, how many of you have watched this movie? There is one of a clip that I can help all of you relate with. What is LLM hallucination? So my question, how many of you have watched this movie, Khatta Meetha? Anyone? You know, you have watched this movie, pretty old, but how many of you have watched? Anyone? Okay. Now team, go through these two slides and tell me, those who have watched, are you able to relate? What is actually LLM hallucination? Those who are able to relate, let me know in the comment. Are you able to relate? So as of now, this LLM is being very confident, you know, with the fixing of a roller and all. But if you look at, again, After Effect, this is what, you know, is the output. So team, this is exactly what is happening with LLMs. And if you're not understanding that, what all ways we can place guardrails into consideration so that in case if your LLMs are hallucinating, you are already aware of it in advance. This is definitely going to help you a lot so that you can rely on GPTs for a few use cases, but for a few, you are already aware in advance. So let me try to improvise that prompt. All of you, please pay attention. This is going to be very insightful. Look at this. So what I'm going to do next, let me try to revise the prompt. So what I'll do, okay, I'll go back to this slide again. So what I'll do is I will go ahead and try to copy. By the way, team, don't worry about these like prompts and all. I will make sure that if you're staying till the end, I will give all these prompts to you. Don't worry about this. Don't be in that hurry state to, again, take the screenshot and all that. Not required. Just stay with me. Focus on the pointers that we are discussing and then you will get all these inputs that, again, we are sharing part of today's session. Don't worry about that. Okay. Now look at this. I'm trying to improvise the prompt in certain way. Now, if you look at the response, and again, team, for you to understand why we have added this and all, it will take some time for you to understand, but let's try to look at the response. Look at this. Now, what is your observation, team? Now, your observation says that if you look at, okay, let's talk about cafe coffee day. Now, look at the response. It says, distance, why it's good for date, approximate cost, verified information, estimated uncertain information. Now team, when you will go ahead and try to compare. So team, this is also important that whatever prompts that you are using, you're also trying to compare it in different LLMs. Let's say you are trying to use it in ChatGPT versus you are trying to use it in Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, all those. Now, team, what I'm trying to make all of you understand with this prompt example that will make more sense to all of you in a while is that, look at this. Whenever I'm trying to revise the prompt with some anti-hallucination guardrails, this is going to give you the information. What is the information on which you can rely and what are the assumptions that GPTs or any of these LLMs are making. So to, again, give you more concrete evidence in context of a business analyst, let me help you with one of a prompt. Look at this. Let's say, okay, a quick task to all of you. My expectation from all of you is that let me try to, again, give this prompt in the comment section, in the chat option. My expectation from all of you is that go ahead and you also try to copy paste the same prompt to your GPT. All of you, look at the comment section. I have given you the prompt. So just a small change, team. I'm revising. So copy paste the updated one that I've just sent. Let me delete the previous one. Okay. All of you, open any LLM, whatever, Gemini, Claude, GPT, whatever that you want to. And my question to all of you is that copy paste and tell me what is the response that you are seeing, or just copy paste in short and paste it in the chat option. I'll give you 30 seconds of time because I want all of you to understand that different models with different prompts that you use, it is going to behave in different manner. And that is one of a very important parameter that I again want to cover part of today's agenda. So all of you, try to copy that prompt that I've given to any of the LLMs and paste your response, the output in the comment section, all of you. I will also do the same. Okay. So I can see the first response, it says it's actually a very smart move, even if it's a traditional waterfall environment. Another observation says adding a user story section inside a BRT can be helpful. Okay, cool. Another observation that I can see is adding a user story can be a smart move, but only if it is done intentionally. Okay, cool. Another one is, yes, you can add user story inside a BRD. That's a great idea, integrating a user story section with your existing BRDs and all. Now, all of you, please pay special attention to this because this is going to be very, very informative because those who believe that with the use of AI, whatever input that we are giving, we're going to get the desired input. You have to understand before giving the inputs, there are certain parameters that you should be very good with. So all of you, let me ask you a question. All of you, please pay attention to screen. My question to all of you. Read the statement again and tell me if you are working in a dedicated waterfall methodology, is it actually recommended that you going to document user story in a business requirement document? Yes or no in the comment section. Is it actually making sense that you are working in a waterfall methodology and you are writing user stories as far as BRD documentation is concerned? My question, what if you are responding this output in your interview? Think about the repercussions. Because what I'm observing is most of you are consuming too much of content online, which is a simple copy paste of GPTs. I will not name them. You're smart enough to identify the names that I'm trying to call out. So team, whatever content that you are consuming, 99% of the content is output of the poor input that you are consuming. So it is very, very important for you to understand as far as input in form of prompt to any of the LLMs is concerned, what is the best that you can do as a business analyst? Now team, Let me try to do the same again exercise to the GPT. And this is going to be very, very eye-opening for all of you. Look at how LLM is going to hallucinate. So what I'll do is, let me try to come up with this prompt. And this time, let's try to give this to uh, Gemini. Look at this. Look at the response. All of you, I hope you are observant. Look at this. So it says, it's a great idea. Let me try to ask the same to Perplexity. Look at this. Let's wait. Ideally, this should not take this much of time. But anyways, let's have a bit of patience. Maybe it can, and again, maybe come up with more meaningful response. So let's wait for a second. Let me try to refresh this. I think some issues. Anyways, I'll keep this window open. If the response is loading, I'll show that to you. Now, team, look at this. If I show you the response, it says that's a great idea. Now, team, all of you, please observe. Now, what I will do is, let me try to change the prompt to this. It says, let me first copy this. Make sure all of you are observing. Now, let us try to do a bit of debate with, again, the LLMs. Look at this. I'm saying, but this is not making sense as waterfall, as we only consider the use case. And in Scrum, we are supposed to write user stories. So what you're trying to feed to the GPT now, or again, the LLMs, is that when it comes to waterfall, only use cases are making sense. However, in the Agile Scrum, user stories is what is supposed to be documented. And now, you are again coming up with the point saying, why are you forcing me to write in waterfall? Now look at the response. All of you, that's an excellent point, and you are absolutely correct in your observation. You're not being forced to adopt a new methodology, but suggestion is to add user story was intended as a valuable enhancement. Now look at this. I'm again going to give another prompt. Now I'm going to say is, don't be diplomatic. Just say yes or no if we should write user story in waterfall model. Now look at this. Let's observe. Now look at this. It says, you should, yes, absolutely should write user story in waterfall model. However, now what I'll do is, let me try to ask the same question to the same prompts. Look at this. So what I'll do, I will go ahead, ask this to GPT. Now team, there can be a possibility that with the first output, it can give me a valid response, because again, my GPT is trained enough and I'm using GPTs to a lot of use cases and all that. So let's see if the response is coming in our favor or it is again as per the Gemini response that we have added. Okay. So it says, here's the clear practical answer without diplomacy. Exactly what you wanted. It says no user story, because as I've said, it is already trained in certain ways and all that. Now team, what was your observation? Your observation was that if you look at, again, the prompt that we have given to the GPT, now all of you, make sure you're attentively listening to this discussion. Make sure you're attentive. Look at this. So if you look at this input, your expectation was that I'm going to feed this as input to any of the LLMs using prompting, and it is going to come up with the desired output. But in what was your observation? When you tried coming up with the prompt one, it says, yes, it is recommended to write user story in a BRD. Second time, it said, not mandatory, but maybe. And third time, your response, again, your observation was that it clearly said no. With, again, the prompts that we have started. So again, if you will try to compare, so all of you, give it a try. If you have used the GPT before, the chat GPT, let me give you again these two options, like the prompts that I've just used. And all of you try to test it at your end and tell me what is the response that you're getting. All of you, give it a try. So what I'll do is I will be giving you prompt 2 and prompt 3 as well. And all of you tell me, to the same LLM that you have used, with the inputs that you have shared previously. Use the same LLM and go ahead with prompt 2 and prompt 3. And all of you, let me know with the prompt 3, what is the response that you're getting? Just for the confirmation purpose. What is the response that you're getting? Because when it comes to Gemini, it is still supporting that no, user story can still be written on a BRD. That, can never be practically correct. Let me know if the response of ChatGPT, because mine is already trained, so I'm expecting all of you to perform the task, and let me know what is the final output of prompt 3 in the chat option. One or two, again, responses are also fine, just for the validation purpose, all of you. Prathamesh, Abhishek, Syed, Rajinder, all those who have already given the prompts. Okay. Now, what is your observation, team? It says, initially you said, the same LLM said that yes, user stories can be written in a BRD, but now it is changing the response, saying that no, it is not expected to write a user story in a business requirement document. So this is exactly what I wanted all of you to understand when it comes to LLM hallucination. That LLM, you cannot rely 100% on the output that you are receiving from any of these LLM. My question, on scale of 5, how much you are confident practically with what is LLM hallucination? Are you getting practical sense out of this on scale of 5? On scale of 5, how many of you understood what is LLM hallucination on scale of 5? On scale of 5, how many of you understood what is LLM hallucination? And those who are going to say less than 3, you have to be more attentive, because I think I've given you enough example. So you have to be little more focused on the discussion that we are doing. Okay. Now, team, let me take you through another realization. Because again, a couple of you said that you have the concern of job security, that we are not sure if BA is going to be one of a relevant role with AI in business analysis. So before we go ahead and talk about the real impact and all, let us try to have a quick realization of software development lifecycle. Make sure, team, all of you are understanding the delivery, and then it will be making a lot of sense, because I'm going to come up with one of an example of SBI, State Bank of India. We'll talk about how they started in 72 and what are they doing with AI initiatives as far as, again, the IT projects are concerned. So important that before we go there, we are understanding the context. So all of you look at this. As far as, again, the upcoming slides are concerned, so before we talk about AI, let's rewind a bit. Earlier, if you talk about software, it was only run by the tech team. Now you might be thinking why I am saying that earlier it was only run by the tech team. You need to understand, team, if you'll try to do a bit of research, you will observe that since 1972, year 2000, waterfall was the only model. But when it comes to business analyst role, after year 1985, the BA role started taking shape, because we observed that it is difficult for the devs to understand the requirement and to implement. And that is where the BA, they started working as a bridge in between the business side and the IT side. And that liaison acting and all that helped a lot of businesses in order to understand and give clarities and all those. So again, to understand this, as I was saying that earlier the software was only run by the tech team. Businesses said one thing, but developers built something different. And of course, the project failed. Not because of coding, but because no one was clearly translating business into requirement. And that's how business analyst role becoming important. So someone in the middle to ask the right question, bring clarity, and to guide the tech team. So for years, BAs were the backbone of digital transformation as far as those projects are concerned. However, now when it comes to AI, so when AI has entered the picture, as we have just observed chat GPTs and all, this can absolutely help BAs drafting BRDs, user stories, email, whatsoever that they are trying to do, faster, optimized quality work. Now the question is, if companies used to have 10 BAs, 8 BAs, all of you, please pay attention. Definitely, companies do not require 8 or 10 as far as one complex project is concerned. 2 to 3 BAs in this hybrid or AI era is definitely going to solve those given problems and to live up to the expectation. And that is where the question is, AI is not killing the BA role, it is just raising the bar, which means if you are not relevant in the industry, high chances that you should definitely fear AI. So that is where, team, what I'm going to make you realize next is, let's talk about SBI, one of example, and then we'll try to understand the kind of expectation they had in waterfall, followed by agile scrum, and then we'll talk about the hybrid again with some expectation they might have in the AI era and all that. So all of you, let's try to focus on these slides. Look at this. When it comes to SBI, back in 1978, they started using paper-based operation with early mainframe system. And when it comes to waterfall, we all of us are aware that it is a very, very documented approach, very documented. That is where there are tons of documentations expected, BRDs, FRDs, SRS, use cases, a lot of documentations are concerned. And when it comes to flexibility, by the time you are delivering the project, let's say this took 2 years of time, and then the vendor, the IT side, they're going to roll the software solution in one go, and then whatever changes coming in, they are considering those as the change request and all. However, if you look at the next era, that is focusing on agile scrum method and all, we have observed that SBI have started shifting towards digital banking. And that is where, if you look at the customer scale, serving million of customer across India, and of course, when it comes to the vendor expectation, faster release with iterative improvement. So team, I'm pretty sure you would have heard that in Agile Scrum, there's a concept of MVP, minimal viable product, and instead taking 2 years of time for all, let's say, 100 feature at once, we try to follow a release model. Release 1, release 2, maybe 3 months, 4 months, and then we are keep on adding new features to it. We are keep on improvising the existing feature, to which we call, again, MVP follows incremental and iterative approach. So this is something we are aware. But for you, important to take note is that as far as agile scrum method is concerned, we are not going to focus too much on the lean, lengthy documentation like waterfall. This is going to focus on lean documentation. And that is where now we are shifting from tons of those documentations to user stories and very relevant for BAs, that is acceptance criteria. And that is where the concept of product backlog, sprint backlog, Jira tickets, all of that you are already aware. Now team, look at this. If I talk about the hybrid, this is going to be very, very important realization team. Make sure you are observing. Look at this. Back in year 2017. So you might be thinking that year 22 onwards, AI started taking shape. But I would ask all of you to, again, try to increase your horizon to a level. Again, I will ask all of you later point in time, you try to go over this report. So this is one of a report from Google that speaks about attention is all you need. So if you go through this, you will find it online. No fancy document that I'm showing you. If you go through and if you look at the date. I'm just trying to change the host. 1 second. Yes. Okay, cool. No. So team, what I'm recommending all of you to do is later point in time, try to go ahead and read this guide, again, this report, again, which is attention is all you need. And in this, you will, again, you just have to read it on a high level and just try to look at this. I will not say that you need to have a technical knowledge of this, but something called as transformers. I'm saying just try to give it a read. Now, why I'm asking all of you to give it a read, just to, again, let all of you know that you might be thinking that as far as GPTs and all is concerned, they started taking shape after year 2022. But to your surprise, SBI was one of the first Indian bank back in year 2017. They came up with YONO, and since 2017, this was AI powered. I'm not saying 100% efficient back then, but the realization that I'm going to give now is, understand team, when it comes to the vendor client relation, let's say you are working as IT business analyst for one of a software project. So let's say, again, you're working at a vendor end as a IT business analyst, and you are trying to support one of a business side. That is your client. Let's say this is one of a bank. Now, one of a growing expectation of this bank, 100% is going to be the LLM expectation. Now, why do I say this? Why these projects or why these clients are not only interested in feature development and software solution. So let's say initial expectation was digital transformation. So you're interacting with the business, they're coming up with their expectation saying, we are looking for either a mobile application or we are looking for a web application. We are looking for a website, we are looking for a CRM or a ERP, but now the expectation of the client, the business side, is going to grow. And what is going to be their expectation? Their expectation would be whatever features that they have part of their existing web applications or the software solution, how we can try to integrate AI to it at a feature level, and the most important, how we can try to support them with the internal LLMs. So team, you might be questioning that why internal LLM is making a lot of sense to the companies. Let me give you a bit of context so that once I talk about a few jargons that we should be aware, all of you are able to understand that what should be the level of information that you have to acquire and what is something which is not, again, priority as far as your role as a business analyst is concerned. So before I go there, let me show you a news cut, very recent, very recent. How many of you are aware of this? You are already aware of this news? Are you aware of this? Go through this. How many of you are aware? Because it's again, being very honest and upfront, it's a threat to national security. How many of you are aware of this? If we are not aware, we should be aware, team, because this is something, if you think is like pretty okay, it is absolutely not okay. And that is where you need to realize. Imagine, as far as this spoofing is concerned, let's talk about DGCA. DGCA is one of a regulatory body of whatever, again, aviations and all are concerned. So when it comes to DGCA, which stands for, I think, Director General of Civil Aviation. Now, if you look at this regulatory body, observe. If I talk about GPS spoofing, high chances that ATS, they are using certain software solution. It can be ERPs, it can be CRM, it can be any software solution. Now, why this happened? Because there was some, so if they'll try to do some root cause analysis, definitely it is a case of data breach. But team, all of you think about it. One of the biggest threat to any company is they are still not ready to rely 100% on open source or even licensed LLM because of the trust issues. How many of you agree to me on this point that companies are still having trust issues even with the licensed LLM? How many of you agree? And team, that is where you would observe that in India also, I think in Jamnagar, if I'm not wrong, we have already started working on the data center. Because team, you need to understand when you talk about LLM AI and all, it happens on 4 levels. We'll talk about that later point in time. But the core of that is data. So those data we are feeding to the LLM. Those LLMs, different LLMs, again, different AI tools are using, again, a different LLMs model, and then they're able to come up with whatever use cases they are trained for. And then comes the usage. That different companies are trying to use different AI tools for different services and all that. So what is your observation, team? The all the real concern is always with the data breach and all. Now, why I'm telling you this? Imagine when you are working with any of your client, there one of the expectation can definitely be that apart from the software solution, you also help us with internal LLMs. How many of you are able to understand the thought process, team? Let me know in the comment if you're understanding that apart from AI upgradation to the feature and all, the expectation of companies is also going to be asking for an internal LLM because they are not going to trust. Most of the companies are not going to trust the open source or even the licensed LLMs we have. Are you getting some sense out of this discussion? Yes or no? All of you, make sure you're responding to these questions so that I'm able to guide you with something more meaningful. Okay, now look at this. That is exactly where, team, when it comes to, again, these LLMs or training the LLMs, post-training and all of that, there are certain parameters that BAs should be aware, and there are something that BAs, it is not making sense for BAs to be aware on those parameters. So as you just observed on the slide that how this role is going to change a little in the AI space and also let us try to do a quick comparison. All of you look at this. When it comes to the job security, it says, when it comes to waterfall, agile and AI enabled. So again, very heavy documentation, let's say total 7 to 8 BAs. If I talk about that same example, SBI, followed by, if I talk about agile, let's say 5 to 6, because of course, apart from this, there is also a product owner in that agile scrum method. Now, when it comes to AI enabled, we should definitely fear if you are not able to leverage AI to the fullest as a business analyst. All of you, please pay attention. I am saying that we should definitely fear AI if you are not able to leverage AI to the fullest. But the catch there is, when I say you're not able to, when I say you should be able to leverage AI, this is exactly where it's a gray area for now. That when I say you should be able to leverage AI, the question is, what is making sense for you as a BA and what is not making sense for you as a business analyst? So that clarity I'm going to give you in a while, but important for all of us to understand that 2 to 3 BAs maximum is going to support these projects, and that is where they definitely have to leverage AI in a lot of parameters, which I'm going to explain you in a while. But team, one thought process that I want all of you to understand is, so team, let me take you through my website. If you just go through what we cover on the last 2 weeks, all of you look at this. It says, all of you, please pay attention. Let me try to help you understand again, what are going to be the expectations and all that. Look at this. If you look at the post-PIB assignment, it says, prepare for BA interview by practicing hands-on project explanation to ensure you have effectively justify your project. Focus on the following: mind map, use case diagram, wireframe, detailed BRD, process flow diagram, competitive analysis, SWOT analysis, feature prioritization, user story acceptance criteria, gap analysis, and all. Now look at this. Let's say I talk about one of a document. Let's say the document name is business requirement document. And let's talk about, again, a BA trying to create a BRD, which is very detailed, let's say 250 plus pages. And the BA is trying to create it manually. So let's talk about one stage in business analysis. We call it requirement elicitation and analysis. So what is the output of requirement elicitation and analysis? That is to take sign off from the stakeholder. So ideally speaking, in a waterfall, it can take, let's say, 3 months of time for you to take sign off, as in to create the document, making sure that stakeholders have gone through it and they have given you a formal approval that yes, this is exactly as per our expectation. My question, if I talk about AI in business analysis, do you think companies will be fine you as a BA taking 3 months of time in requirement elicitation analysis just to take sign off, spending 3 months of time? Is it making sense in the AI era? What is your observation? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. So team, what is your observation when it comes to 3 month? What is that cut short that we can do? Is it 1 day, 2 day, 1 week, 2 week, 3 week? What is your observation, team? What is the cut short in terms of duration that you can do? One of you said 1 to 2 week. One of you said 1 week. One of you said 1 week. Okay. But then this is exactly where you need to understand that BA role is still not as simple as you think. It is not just about documentation. Prior documentation, this is very, very important that you and your stakeholder is on same page. So if you think documentation is doable in 2 days, I would say documentation is even doable in 1 day. But the real problem still involves people skills, where you still have to interact with the stakeholder. I'm absolutely agreeing that yes, there can be certain AI tools that you can use, maybe for summarizing the minutes of meeting, create mind map and all, but you still have to interact with the stakeholders. Make sure you are on same page. Only then you will be able to come up with the effective documentation. So having that said, what is your observation? It is not making a lot of sense for the companies to have those many BAs, the BAs, let's say 6, 8 BAs or 5 to 6 BAs as far as different models and all are concerned. So this is going to be very, very sure that the size of the BA is going to get half or even low, maybe 2 to 3 BAs. Maybe it can be 1 to 2 BAs for smaller projects and all that as well, because you just observed that AI is definitely going to automate BA task, strategic, and again, BAs can also try to upskill themselves as a techno-functional business analyst. So what I'm trying to make all of you understand is that in this slide, team, this is very, very important for you to understand that AI is a mandatory skill. However, this is important for you to realize that when it comes to, let's say I'm talking about that internal LLM. Your job as a business analyst is not to develop or to implement this internal LLM. Your job as a BA is to understand why, what are those guardrails, as in what internal policies, again, the companies are following, what is their work culture, a lot of that information. And that information, you have to pass it on to someone who's going to work on actually developing that LLM. That is one. And second is, you as a BA also have to understand and identify what all AI tools is going to make sense as far as the implementation. So again, I talked about those many tools. My bad, the expectations from a BA. So your focus should definitely be that as far as these expectations are concerned. And if I'm using any BA specific tool, let's say, as of now, for you to create a wireframe using any of the tool, it is taking, for one screen, it is taking 30 minutes of time. Now, there might be some AI tool that you can use, which is just going to take 5 minutes. And then the fine tunings and all is going to take additional 10 minutes. So instead, you used to take 30 minutes. It is now just taking 10 to 12 minutes of time. So what is your observation? You have to identify, as far as roles responsibility of a BA is concerned, what all AI tools is going to make sense so that you are able to optimize your job to the fullest. But the catch there again is going to be in the prompt engineering, because even if you're trying to use those tools, one thing that remains the common with any tool that you use is, are you able to do proper prompting or not, which I'm going to cover in a while. So team, my question to all of you, how many of you are able to understand what is the expectation from a business analyst as far as AI usage is concerned? Let me know in the comment section if you are getting some sense out of the discussion we are doing. Your job is not that you have to actually code or develop those internal LLMs. Your job is to understand why even the stakeholders are expecting. what are the policies they have in place, what are those guardrails that we have to consider, and then to pass on all those information to your development team, which can help the businesses with those internal LLMs. Is it making sense to all of you? Yes or no in the comment section. Is it making sense? Yes or no in the comment. Is it making sense? Okay. Now, if this is making sense, the next slide, all of you will definitely be able to relate. So, all of you, let's talk about the skills in AI era and what are the skills which are still relevant. Look at this. Requirement elicitation, process modeling, stakeholder engagement, critical thinking, all of these are definitely relevant. And these are the core skills team. When it comes to, I would say, when it comes to the core BA skills, it always revolves around the people skills, because as I've said that you are the one who have to interact with the business. I definitely agree that you can try to optimize your task leveraging AI, but ultimately, even if you're using AI, there is going to be human in the loop. And that human in our context is that BA, as far as the relevant skills are concerned. Now, when it comes to must upgrade, of course, prompt engineering, you should have basic and fundamental knowledge from a practical implication as far as what is AI, what is ML. So again, basics and fundamental. Important AI-enabled business analysis. The same thing that I've just explained you, that what all ways or what all tools we can use as far as different deliverables are concerned. And definitely, you can upgrade yourself to a techno-functional BA. So again, think about this team. Let's say you're a functional business analyst. You're not coming from a tech background. Now, let's say your team shared one of an API document and it is becoming very, very difficult for you to understand. Now, leveraging AI, if you're going to upload that API document, this is definitely going to help you understand the context of that API documentation. So what I'm trying to tell you is that this might be a challenge for a functional business analyst to understand a few technical parameters or jargons before, but now this is no longer a challenge as far as AI in business analysis is concerned, because you can definitely leverage AI to understand a lot of technical jargon in a very easy manner and easy for you to communicate with the development team. How many of you agree to this, that this is something absolutely doable? That now upskilling yourself as a techno-functional BA, leveraging AI, it is going to be super simple. Agree? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? You don't have to spend 2 weeks of time just to understand, how do API call, make, and all of those you don't have to get at that level. Absolute not making sense to you. So you are leveraging AI also to upgrade yourself to that techno-functional BA. I agree that you should have basic understanding, but still, definitely it is going to help you upgrade to techno-functional BA. However, the most important, where those who say that, is it completely going to be automated, there is no job of a BA and all that, your assumption is absolutely incorrect, because whichever role, as of now, when I speak, November 2025, whichever role in which involves people skills, the good part being that AI is not going to completely replace you, because of the reason that, look at this, these are those humanly unique skills which is still difficult for AI to compensate for. So you are not going to get replaced as far as these skills are concerned. This is exactly, team, why I said, when I asked you the question saying, hey, can you guess how much of time it might take for BAs to get again the sign off from the stakeholder, part of elicitation analysis? Those who said it can take just 1 week of time, absolutely no, because this is still intact as far as your job as a BA role is concerned. So that is where I always say that keep on working on your people skills. Do not try to be that lazy thinking that, oh, you know what, AI is going to help you in a lot of ways. AI is definitely going to help you as a helping hand. Absolutely, yes. But 100% you still cannot rely on GPTs. And team, I just shown you the example of LLM hallucination, which means even when you are taking help of any LLMs and all, you have to be little watchful with the prompt which I'm going to discuss in a while. Now, all of you look at this. So if I go to the next slide, the question, what is not making sense for AI business analyst? So if you are someone who is trying to, again, learn a lot of concepts of AI ML, going too technical, let's say transformer architecture, Python for ML, fine-tuning model like LoRa, MLOps model deployment, GPU or compute, again, optimization. These are still not making sense for AI business analyst. Because again, team, look at this. When it comes to transformer architecture, that is too technical. BAs needs to know what LLMs can do, not how layers or attention works. When it comes to Python for ML, that's for ML engineer, where they're going to write code and all to train, again, different LLMs and all. When it comes to LoRa, for example, again, model training techniques. So these are not going to be very, very relevant as far as your job as a BA is concerned. And similarly, if you look at GPUs, compute optimization, all of those have something to do with the hardware efficiency. Why will you try to learn all that as far as your job as a business analyst is concerned? So that is your team. You need to understand. A BA is not expected to build or deploy LLM. Get it very, very straight. Do not get overwhelmed with tons of content that you're consuming online. You should understand, BAs are not expected to build or deploy LLMs. Your job is to decide where AI fit, which tool to use, and the most important, how AI can optimize BA work and the client processes. Is it making sense to all of you? Let me know in the comment section. Is it making sense to all of you? Is it making sense? And that is where now let's talk about what is absolutely making a lot of sense for the BAs. Absolutely making a lot of sense. That is prompt engineering. Very, very important. Very, very important. Because when it comes to prompt engineering, let me tell you, again, I will not come up with the names, but again, all of you are smart enough, those who are active on LinkedIn and different platforms. 99% of the so-called BA content that you are consuming, let me tell you, that is, I would say there is a concept of garbage in and garbage out. So what all that you are consuming right now, I would say, please be a little watchful. Reason, most of you are still not aware of what actually is prompt engineering. If you think, again, you're going to just watch 2 minutes of video, how to write prompts and all, theoretically, same thing you're going to respond your interview. Prompt engineering is an ocean in itself, because this is going to build the foundation for you. The quality of input is going to be, again, justifying or is going to be ensuring that you're going to get the quality output. And I'm going to prove you this today, part of today's session. Don't worry about that. And that is where, team, very, very important for you to have a good understanding of prompt engineering. And let me tell you this, there is also a way to train your LLM. So when I say training again your LLM, there are certain points you should be aware of. There is something called as context. There is something called as token. So again, too early for you to get into those concepts. But what I'm saying is that prompt engineering is ocean in itself. It definitely requires, again, special attention when it comes to prompts and all that. Second is LLM behavior and hallucination. And that is where I talked about placing guardrails into consideration. So important for you to understand the behavior of the kind of LLMs that you are using, followed by how to make sure that the LLMs are not hallucinating. In case if they're hallucinating, you are able to identify. Followed by AI-enabled business analysis, deliverable or task-specific AI tools, and upskill as a techno-functional business analyst. So, team, my question to all of you, on scale of 5, how many of you are able to relate to this slide, that why these are making absolute sense for a business analyst as far as AI FOMO is concerned? On scale of 5, how much you're able to relate with these pointers? So, team, I will request all of you, please, my humble request, do not be in that FOMO. Do not be in that FOMO. Whatever that is required, I am discussing, just focus on those parameters. And team, I have done thorough research of what is happening. I am going to a lot of AI summits. One of our very recent AI summit again was in Bangalore. So you can go and watch my Instagram, a post that I made and all. So believe me, most of you are making your job difficult. You are demotivating yourself that there is too much you have to learn in AI. Absolutely no. This much for now is more than enough. And let me tell you this, I will also try to back this with some research. I will take you through some real-time job description and the job posting. We can try to filter 1 week or maybe 24 hours so that you can see that what kind of roles companies are still hiring and what are their expectations and all that. So don't worry about it. Do not be in that FOMO state. Just try to focus on what is meaningful as far as your BA upskilling or your BA transition is concerned. Okay. So I think, again, your score has given me enough clarity that, yes, your ratings, my bad, that, yes, it is making a lot of sense. Now, team, I hope all of you are already clear with LLM hallucination, at least to the point that I was trying to cover. And pretty much we can definitely go ahead in more depth in the program and all. So let's talk about the prompt engineering as the next topic. So team, going through all of these, again, won't be possible with the limited time that we have. But let me go ahead bit in detail about the prompt engineering so that all of you are understanding the context and you are being a little smart, wise while you're using the prompts and all. Look at this. When it comes to prompt, let me take you through how many of you joined my prompt engineering session. Again, I think I conducted 2 weeks back, dedicated for prompt engineering for 90 minutes. How many of you have joined? Anyone who joined that prompt engineering? I think Ramachandran, you were there if I'm not wrong. Okay, anyone who joined this prompt engineering? No, no one? Okay, anyways, no problem. Okay, look at this. So what I'm going to explain you now is, let me try to, which tool we can use. Okay, let's use GPT. And do we have Claude opened? No, okay, this will again use Gemini. Okay, now team, make sure all of you are attentively observing what I'm going to do next. So what I'll do is, let me come up with some prompt. This is prompt 1. All of you, give it a read and tell me on scale of 5, how much satisfied you are as far as the quality of this prompt is concerned. On scale of 5, how much satisfied you are? Mohammed said 1, Ram said 1.5, Papul said 0.5, Anand said 1, Harshit said, Jhansi said 3, Sahil said 3, Hardik said 2. Okay, cool. Let me go to the next one. And team, by the way, don't worry. I have these documented. I will share these guides to you. Don't worry about this. Just stay till then and you will, okay, look at this. All these prompts, what I'm going to show you is there in this document. Don't worry. I will give all these documents after the session. Don't worry about that. Okay. So coming back, we were discussing about the prompt. Okay. Now let me take you through the next prompt. Okay. Now tell me, the second prompt on scale of 5, how much of rating you can give to this? On scale of 5. Is it 4 now? Is it 3 now? Is it 5 now? All of you, think about it. So I think my ratings have sort of improvised. Now I can see 2.5, 3. One of you said 4. Thank you, Abhishek, for that. Srishi said 3. Sumesh said 3.5. Devashi said 3. Chetna said 4. Hamveer said 3. One of you said 5. Team, let me tell you, it is still below 1.5. That is exactly what I'm trying to make all of you understand, that prompt engineering is ocean in itself. Until unless you don't understand the context, difficult for you to live up to the prompt's expectation. Okay, let me try to take you through another prompt. And by the way, as I keep on saying that these prompts is already documented, I will give that to you. When I'm going to show you the final prompt, then you will observe that what are the missing elements in these prompts. So let's go through the third. Okay, maybe this is the final, maybe. So all of you give it a try, give it a read and tell me your rating. Is it 5 now? Is it 4 now? Maybe we have added more context. We are being more specific with our BRD expectation. How much of rating? Okay, I think you're still not satisfied. So you are saying 3, 4, 2, 4. Okay. Okay, cool. So those who are not satisfied, let me go ahead with another prompt. Those who are still not satisfied with what we are using. Okay, now go through this. It says, produce a stakeholder ready BRD for a Tejas group of companies, smart inventory management with value hypothesis, KPI table, couple of things that you have added here. Now, my question, on scale of 5, are we now 5 on 5 satisfied with the prompt? If no, what is your rating? Still not satisfied? Okay, I can see the number is close to 5, but it's still 4, 3, 3, 4. Okay, cool. Can any one of you tell me what is still missing in this prompt? What is still missing in the prompt? Think about it. Okay, Hardika said tone. Makes sense, Hardika. Good job. What else? Something even more important. Even more important, Hardika. Think about it. Something even more important. Okay, so deep set problem statement. Oh, okay, cool. Chakra Pani said, treat yourself as a BA, which means role that you are assigning to the GPT. Now, all of you, please pay focus on this. Now it says that you are senior business analyst preparing a BRD, and now this is giving what all context that, again, you can go through this later point in time. That is not an issue. But again, let me try to compare response. Let's say I will go ahead and try to start with this. So one quick second. Yes. So what I'll do, let me try to show you something. Let's do it on GPT, although it might be a little biased with my inputs. But anyways, let's go through. Look at this. This is the input that I'm giving, the very basic one. Now it is going to draft a BRD. See, BRD, it came up with a background, problem statement, all of those. Now, I will try to use the last prompt. This, make sure all of you are attentively observing. This is going to be super insightful. So what I'll do now is this. These prompts team I'll give you, don't worry. Okay, let me choose option A. All of you, please observe. Now, if you look at the executive summary, problem and context, if you just try to give it a read, you will observe it is still little generic. But because team, you need to understand there is a concept of context. Something called as context window. Again, what is context window? Pretty much, if you're expecting, so let's say if you're giving input and you are expecting output, of course, that is why you're using LLM. With the tokens that you are feeding to the input and the output that you're expecting, let's say this is like 40 pages of output that you are expecting. This is going to focus on all 40 different sections, different sections in those 40 pages, which means when it comes to the quality of the information, it is going to be very generic. However, let me try to make a small tweak to this. All of you, look at this. What I'll do is, this is going to be important to make sure all of you are observant. So what I'll do, I will come up with the same prompt, not an issue. I'm giving all the context and all. And what I'm feeding, I will show that to you. Don't worry. But this time what I'll do is, observe what I'm doing. I've given all that information. But now what I'm saying is to the GPT is that, look at this. I'm saying, focus on one section at once. Let's start with project background in paragraph form. Now look at this. So what you did is, look at the context. You have given all those inputs, but you are expecting LLM only to focus on one section at once. And as of now, the only focus is going to be on project background. Now look at this. Look at the output. Now, if you compare this versus the previous, how many of you observed that this is making more sense than the previous output that we have received? Because now the entire focus of the LLM was on one given section. So team, are you understanding what I'm trying to speak about, that context window and all? Yes or no in the comment section? Yes or no in the comment section? Are you getting what I'm trying to say with that, again, example that I've given? So team, similar to this, there are a lot which you should be aware as far as prompt engineering is concerned. It is not as simple as you think. Absolutely, absolutely, Tushar. It's good that you're already aware of token. I will not, again, for the sake of audience, Tushar, I will not go into those jargons for. I'm just trying to come up with a very simplistic way for the sake of them, again, understanding the concept. But I hope all of you are able to understand why we are only focusing on one section. Now, team, another observation that you should have. Let's say you are asking the GPT to come up with a business requirement. Now, team, what was your observation? As you know, hallucination, as we just talked about LLM hallucination, there might be a possibility that in a BRD, it is, again, so while you asked BRD, again, the LLM to come up with a BRD, this also suggested that you should write user story in a business requirement document. All of you just observed this. But we know that as far as your job in a waterfall is concerned, you're not supposed to write user story in a BRD. But important again, team, when it comes to what to document, what not to document. So a team, understand the real problem statement. What I'm telling you is that, let's say, let's talk about one of a practical question. The question is, let's say, someone, okay, let me ask you another one. Let's say one of your interview question is that, can you tell us what is requirement prioritization? So you tried explaining that to the interviewer verbally. Now the second question they had is, can you tell me which technique you have used? So to you responded to this question with whatever you're aware. Maybe you said Moscow, you said RISE, whatever. You said HML, whatsoever. Now the question, can you be more specific? Which methodology are you using? Team, make sure all of you are very, very, very attentive, because these are those areas that you are not able to respond in your interview. And then you, again, then you think that, hey, 90% of my interview I responded, but still why I was not able to qualify the given interview? Because the reason, the response that you are giving is not making a lot of sense to your interviewer. So I'm just trying to give you one such scenario so that you are being more careful now onwards when you are appearing for your interviews and all. So team, the question was, can you explain what is requirement prioritization? To which you responded with whatever theories that you have consumed. Now the very specific question they had was, can you tell me which technique have used? And then you came up with your response. Now they're saying, can you tell us which methodology? To which you responded, whatever, waterfall, agile scrum, or hybrid, whatever. Now team, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. And you can also try to use any LLM for that. Feel free, no problem. My question, can you tell me Moscow is applicable, Moscow as a technique, requirement technique is applicable for which methodology? If you're not aware, feel free to leverage LLM. No problem. Go ahead, leverage LLM and tell me which methodology do you use Moscow as the requirement prioritization technique. Feel free and let me know which method. Which method do you use? Moscow prioritization, Agile Scrum, Waterfall, or hybrid, or it can be flexible. It can be used in all of those. All of you respond to this so that I can take it forward. Which method? All of you, all of you, all of you. Really quick. I would also ask one of you to ask this to the GPT or again any other LLM and tell me the response. What response is coming? I've not used this, so action item on you. I'll give you 30 seconds. What is the response you're getting? Okay, you're getting agile. Okay. Team, again, I can again hallucinate. I can again hallucinate GPT. I can convince GPT. I can show you that I can convince GPT and it will say that, you know, in waterfall also you can use Moscow. Okay, let's go through the next question. So let's say you are correct or partially correct with your observation. Now let me ask you another question. My next question to you is that at which level do we use Moscow? Is it at a sprint level? Is it at a release level? Is it at a vision level? Or it is a flexible, which means it can be used in all above 3 levels. What is your observation? Why don't you ask LLM team? Why don't you ask the LLMs, your best favorite go-to person, your best mentor that maybe most of you are referring, or so-called your mentor needs a bit of more polishing on their skill sets. Okay, all of you, give it a try. Use different LLMs. Maybe one of you can use Gemini, one of you can use Claude, one of you can use ChatGPT. Tell me, what is the response coming? So I can see one of you said all, Humbeat said all. All of you respond to it. I'm really curious in knowing the response of so-called AI-powered mentor. All of you, what is the response? So Chakrapani said it says all. Now, one of my alumni have joined. I'm very glad, Chetna, you are here. So Chetna is saying it is applicable at a release level. And those who are not aware of Chetna, again, she's there, I can see. Thanks again, Chetna, finding out time to join today's session. Just to give you a bit of context about Chetna and like how she's aware. Pretty much she's one of my alumni. And when she was part of the program, I was not covering AI end-to-end in our program and all. It's why she have joined today's session. Okay. So if you have to know about Chetna, let me just give you a bit of background of Chetna Arora. And thanks for making me proud, Chetna. You're one of my, I would say, you know, the proud alumni. So if you go through Chetna's profile, so she's coming from a core operation role, tax consultant. I would say less than 1 month, she cracked the opportunity, business analyst, society general. Now, what is the difference in between you and Chetna? The difference is the response that she's giving in the interview is making a lot of sense. Because most of you, when you're saying it is applicable all level, let me tell you, Moscow can never be applicable at all levels. Definitely not at a sprint level. Definitely not. Because you are not aware of it practically is the reason you're not able to respond to it correctly. That is where, team, very, very important for you to understand that. As far as prompt engineering is concerned, this is very, very important for you. First, understand, team, that when it comes to prompt, for sake of your understanding, and again, so that you also remember it for your interview, let me help you with the abbreviation. So this prompt, this stands for, so P. P stands for purpose. R stands for role, O objective, M mode, P parameter, and T the tone. I think T, some of you were saying that is missing. So, okay. So these are those essentials required in prompt engineering. Now, if I talk about purpose, role, objective, mode, it says structure or the format. Now, team, look at this. When I talk about BRD, business requirement document, let's say you are relying on GPT, that GPT should tell you that, hey, what should be the table of content of BRD? This is exactly where most of you are going wrong. Let me ask you a question, all of you. Think about it. My question to all of you is that I'm writing three jargons. One is user story, one is use case diagram, one is use case specification. Chetna, this question is not for you, so you don't respond. I know you are already aware of these concepts, so let other respond. You can respond in the last, Chetna, no problem. Okay, now my question to all of you. When it comes to user story, use case, and Ramachandran, you as well. So make sure both of you are supporting me on that. Anyways, so user story, use case diagram, and use case specification. My question, let me write a few jargons, a few BA deliverable. Let me write PRD, which stands for product requirement document, business requirement document, functional requirement document, and software requirement specification. Now, what you have to do is let me know in the comment section, out of these documents, which one will have a user story, which one will have a use case diagram, and which one will have a use case specification. All of you, take 1 minute, think about it. Again, go and ask your LLMs if you want to. Feel free and tell me the response. Take your time. You have to be responding to each of these. So let's say user story, you can map, use case diagram, you can tell which document, and use case specification you can tell. All of you. I'll wait for your response. One of you said use case diagram will be in FRD. Okay, cool. FRD will be, okay, have use case specification. One of you said all in SRS. User story to BRD, use case specification and use case diagram to FRD. Okay, I'm waiting for others to respond. All of you give it a try. Or why not you ask your favorite LLM and tell me. Last 30 seconds. Those getting bored, feel free to drop off. It's already 1:30. Enjoy your time. No problem. Those getting bored with the discussion, if it is too much, feel free to drop off. Absolutely okay. Radhika said business requirement document, user story BRD, use case diagram FRD and BRD. Okay, cool. Okay. Now team, let me ask you a question and all of you have to be honest on that. All of you have to be honest. My question, if I show you this table, the table is deliverable, method. My question, on scale of 5, how much confident you are to this concept, which document, in which methodology, and the most important, which document should have what logical sections? On scale of 5, how many of you are confident? On scale of 5, with all these parameters, on scale of 5. On scale of 5. On scale of 5. Okay. All of you, be honest. Now, let me drop a reality check. All of you. Even if you are relying on LLM, unless you are not 4.5 and above in this, even if you are using LLM, what is your observation? It is going to hallucinate and will not be able to give you the desired output. So for you to use LLM, what is your observation, team? The observation says you have to give the quality input in order to get the quality output. Is it making sense to all of you? Yes or no? Is it making sense to all of you? And team, this is exactly why, if you look at what we are doing in our program, we are expecting our participants to diligently create these documentation, which we are covering in depth, so that they absolutely know what document will have which section, and logically understanding that when it comes to use case diagram, when it comes to use case specification, all of that at a granular level, that again, someone, you appeared for an interview, someone questioning, hey, what is gap analysis? And then pretty much the same theories that you are consuming, you say it is the as is to be difference and all, and you think that you're going to get qualified. The moment you say gap analysis, the company is going to question, tell me, which tool have you used? Tell me which deliverable, and the most important, tell me the scenario where you have used gap analysis. What was the output of that? Definite way of doing it. Believe me, even if you're coming from non-BA background, non-BA role, definitely each one of you can try to work. So let me give you a context. Let's talk about Chetna, as she's part of the program today. So if you talk about Chetna, in the interview, her entire story narration, it revolves around. Thank you again for one of your response for supporting. It says this webinar is very good and knowledgeable. I love it. Thanks for your support. So anyways, let's focus on the session. The agendas, we just have 30 more minutes. So let me try to give you the quality content to the best possible way again. So coming back, so team, understand. As far as the story narration is concerned, those coming from non-BA background, team, understand. If you are coming from a non-BA background, all you need is story narration. And when I say story narration, what do you mean by story narration? Think about it. When you are trying to, so let me again take you to, okay, let me talk about one of my another alumni, that will make more sense. Anyways, I can also explain from Chetna's Aroda's example, but let me talk about one of a banker we had in our program, Samista Sarkar. Yes, okay, look at this. So she's coming from banking experience. Look at this. So if you look at the banking experience, you will be surprised to see that, look at this. This someone had 12 years of experience for ICICI, and now I'm very proud that she's working as a business analyst since last 1.7 years. Now, if you're observing here, it says working as a business analyst for banking software. Now, this is where team, you need to understand the game altogether. That is, if you're not coming from a BA background, let's talk about the banker. This banker, in last a few years, can be part of the digital transformation process. So what she's communicating in her interview is that as she's having these many years of experience, and when the ICICI Bank for going for digital transformation, this someone has supported the bank in that digital transformation journey. Now you might question that, Dibanshu, how is that practically possible? That is absolutely possible. Think about it. Let's say I'm ITBA and I'm coming from Accenture. So let's say Accenture is that company which is going to help ICICI with mobile application and a couple of other software solutions. Now, I as a ITBA have to go and talk to a few bankers, because I, as a ITBA, have to understand the pain points, challenges, internal policies, internal department dependencies and all. Only once I'm able to get all those inputs from the employee of the bank, I, as a ITBA, can help them with the software solution. That is where this someone have shown her experience on how she supported ITB as part of their journey, and the entire story narration was around how she supported her organization as far as her interaction with the ITB is concerned, and now she have interest in going for the full-time ITBA transition. Now team, if you go through my YouTube channel, you will observe 20 plus stories from different background, be it HR, sales, operation, banking, whatever. And let me tell you, this is something absolutely doable. And that is where team, I keep on saying that you should now focus more on the implementation perspective instead of just trying to stick with your theoretical concepts and all of that. Now, taking you back to the slide from where we started. Now, look at this. So team, when it comes to the prompt engineering from where we started this discussion, going back, Yes, sir. Thank you again, Ramachandran. So he's also here. Ramachandran training is more insightful, even if I've cracked BA. Okay, so Ramachandran, it's good. I can also show. Thanks, Ram, for joining today's session. So if you look at Ramachandran's profile, yeah, he's working for one of our big four, like KPMG. So Rama, I'm not sure if you not updated your profile, but so okay, I think he joined the program back then, and I think you're yet to update your profile, Rama. But anyways, he cracked again the opportunity with KPMG. So again, taking you back to the sessions. Now, team, understand that as far as the AI tool capabilities and all are concerned, I will. So again, on a high level, because it is more about exploring different tools and then to understand how we can leverage different AI tools for different roles responsibility. So this is also added part of that document that I'll be sharing with all of you, those who are again staying till the last. So again, when it comes to PRD, some research, some long context, so Claude, so there is a comparison of which one is the best and which one is the basic. So again, in that document, this is also documented, and you can also try to do a comparison yourself, team. So I would say that better that when you are using those again the prompts and all, you are also trying to compare. The more experiment you do, the better clarity you will have and all that. So that is where when it comes to again the prompt engineering, I hope all of you are getting more understanding of what all strategies we should be using, at least on a high level as far as today's agendas are concerned. Now, team, let me talk about one of the research that I did. So this research is like, I would say November 2nd, 2025. And this research was for last 6 months of uh, AI versus AI BA versus non-AI BA job. So my observation, and this was just for Indeed for 6 months. So my observation says that if I talk about exclusive AI jobs, 17.5, that is 122 role, the companies have started expecting BAs to leverage AI, and whatever that I have shown you, that is what is making sense for BAs in AI and all those parameters were mentioned part of the job description. However, 82.5 jobs, opportunities and all, still there is no trace of AI so far. And I will show that you right now. Don't worry about this. But team, let me tell you this. In 6 months, believe me, and why, again, this is just restricted to 17.5. Reason, most of the companies are still experimenting it at a COE level, that is Center of Excellence. But what you will observe that, what you are going to observe is that uh 50% and above in next 4 to 6 months, companies are going to expect AI implementation for a business analyst with the use cases that we have discussed. So if I talk about again from our today's context, if I take you through, okay, let me take you through this. All of you, please pay attention. So let's go through a few of the jobs. So what I'll do is I will just try to refresh this. And now I will again make it past 24 hours so it shows 68 jobs. Now, let us try to go through a few of these jobs. So if I go through this, all of you, if you are able to identify any AI expectation, let me know. So in this, do you see any AI specific expectation from this company? Yes or no? In the comment. Yes or no? Okay. Let me go through the next one. Look at this. Thank you, Chetna, for sharing that to Radhika. Okay, cool. So going ahead, look at this. My question, are you seeing any AI specific expectation on this? Yes or no? Yes or no? Anyone? Okay, Chancy said no. Others? Yes or no? Okay. Let's go through the next. Let's go through this. Do you see any AI expectation? Yes or no? Okay. Let's go through this. So far, I think I've shown you 5 opportunities. And by the way, I've not created. You can see, we are doing it live. like from the real-time job opportunities and all? Do you see any AI expectation? Now, team, let me tell you this. 4 months, 6 months from now, 50% and above jobs will definitely expect BAs to have that AI knowledge. And that is where I would say all you have is 4 to 6 months to brace yourself for the expectations that I have covered part of today's agenda. And team, that is no longer rocket science, I would say. So again, couple of recommendations that I want to give to all of you. So first of all, team, there are a lot of tools nowadays. There is no point of buying the subscription from your pocket. Doesn't make sense, but you can absolutely use open source. So I will also share with you one of our document. Yeah, this one. So this is prompt engineering. There should be another one. Yes, this. So team, I will also share with you this tool, AI tool for business analysts, specific to documentations and all. I would recommend all of you try to spend at least 1 hour of time on your AI research and all. Instead, just relying on someone like me or anyone else. Why not you try to take charge of your upskilling and you start spending at least 1 hour on daily basis. So my quick question, team, if I'm giving you this list of tools, is it something doable that you are spending 1 hour of time going through these tools and finding out that which tool is the best for your use case? Is it something doable? Yes or no? Spending 1 hour? And team, you have to do, you don't have choice. It's like AI at the gate. So you have to do, there's no other options left. You have to do that. Okay. So I will give you this document as well. You can pretty much go and explore. And I think this is also on the website. So if you go through the free resources, yes. So, and by the way, we are going to upgrade the resources. There are a lot of more resources we're going to upgrade in 1 week of time. Just a bit of upload is pending. So give me 1 week and a lot of new resources coming in on the way. So coming back, so team, don't have that FOMO. Just spend 1 hour of time on daily basis. And believe me, you are there. Okay. So the question, how you can be AI ready for 2026. So you have to be familiar with the core AI jargon. And now you know what is making sense and what is not making sense. So I hope you are no longer going to have that FOMO with whatever buzzwords and all you are consuming online. My suggestion to each one of you would be, please, pay special attention to prompt engineering. Very, very important. Make sure you are paying special attention to the prompt engineering. Followed by, you can actively start leveraging AI in your day-to-day business analysis. So again, you might say, Dibanshu, but in my company, we are not using any LLMs. We don't have any LLMs. I would say, you can still use LLM in your system without sharing any confidential information of your client. So let's say the name of your client is XYZ. You're not disclosing those confidential information and all to, because I know there can be data breach, privacy issues and all, which if your company will get to know that you are sort of, using LLMs for all those, they will definitely have issue. But if you are not sharing any confidential information and if you're trying to do that in your own local PC system and all, I don't see that as a challenge. Is it making sense to all of you? Yes or no? Is it making sense that if you're not using any confidential information, why do you think companies will have issues? So, and also start practicing solving case studies using AI. So team, again, in my program, one of a thing which is mandatory for someone to go through my program is they're expected to work on case study. So before joining my program, look at this. This is one of a case study that is given. So if I take you through the board of my upcoming, okay, look at this. So if you go through all these members, I only entertain 40 in a batch. That is one of our limitation because focus is on quality and all. So if you go through all of them, all names that you are seeing, what they are working on right now is they are solving this case study and I have given them free hand. They are already aware that they can use whatever LLM, whatever AI tools that they want to. So team, what I'm saying is that as far as solving these case studies are concerned, if you are not smart to use AI, maybe prompts and different LLMs or maybe different tools to solve case study, I would say you're foolish because when it comes to the case studies and all, even if you're sharing any of these confidential, so-called confidential information, because these are some dummy scenarios that they're creating. So I would say start leveraging AI to solve these case studies. Very, very important. And then you will also get a lot of clarity, confidence as far as the AI usage in business analysis is concerned. So I would say start practicing solving real case studies using AI. And the most important, build and maintain an AI powered work portfolio. So team, again, now the next focus is, so as I was saying you that in my program, if you go through, yes, look at this. So if you go through the curriculum, once the 4 weeks are done, like the live program and all, each one of my participants, those 40 members, they are expected to work on these assignments. So prior AI, they used to do it manually. Of course, they will try to leverage GPTs and all. However, so Rajinder and Radhika, I will not comment on those certifications, although, I mean, subjective, but I focus more on practical learning. If you think that those certification is actually focusing on the real-time practical upskilling, or it just sort of some guide and pretty much theories and all, I don't see a lot of values on any of those certification. I'll not be specific with the name, but again, you're smart enough. So pretty much focus more on the practical implementation. And by the way, Rajendra, Radhika, all of my, so if you go through 500 plus alumni we have, they're working for top MNCs, Big Four, and I don't see them having these certifications and all that. We have Chetna on the call today. We have Ramachandran, again, other members as well, whosoever have been through my program. So subjective, I would say if you think in that certification, the focus is more on the practical implementation, you can definitely go ahead again around those lines. So anyways, coming back. So team, I would recommend all of you when it comes to your building your BA portfolio and all, now is the time. Now is the time you should also start leveraging AI tools for creation. So first you should be doing it manually for your knowledge purpose, but then you should also try to level it up with the AI tool, because again, the same thought process team. Now you do not have those many hours to create a real-time BIDs and all. You definitely have to leverage AI to optimize your job, to optimize, be productive and all of that. So definitely create your BA portfolio leveraging AI, so that when you are appearing for the interview and they're asking you that, hey, can you tell us which tool have you used for maybe competitive analysis, why you have used that tool. So you're pretty much clear with your logic along with the experiments that you have performed. So I would say make sure that you are going through all those. So Nandini, my response is going to be the same with any of the certification that you will name. I would say if you see a value from a practical implementation, you should definitely go for it. Or else I do not see a lot of value in sort of all those fancy certifications and all that. So anyways, coming back to the discussion. Now team, all of you, I can see a lot of questions coming in, how I can connect with you personally. And also team, there is a process. Look at this. As far as my PIBA program is concerned, we call it Practical Insights of Business Analysis. This is the top 1% BA community, 500 plus alumni working for top MNCs, all Big Four, including Amazon. Now look at this. One of a thing that I make sure, as I've already said, is 40 members. And for you to join the program, you have to go through a process. And what is the process? The process says, first thing is you're going to have a one-to-one shortlisting call with me, so that I am able to identify whether you are that committed individual or not, because this program is going to grill you. Why do I say grill? It is not going to be a program where I'll just come up, talk about what is a BRD, unless you're not creating these documentations yourself and all. This is definitely not going to make sense. So that is where there is a process. And I will again tell you how you can apply for the PIB and all that. I will talk about again when we are starting the batch and all that. So anyways, when it comes to the core USP, pretty much job support when it comes to the job support, resume drafting, BA portfolio, mock interview, and the best part, if there is any opportunity with any of those alumni working for top MNCs, Big Fours and all, so there is a group that we have created, PIBA Alumni Connect, where all 500 plus alumni are added. So if there is any job definitely they're going to share it with other members, and then they can also try to apply. And why it's a win-win for both of them? They've also gone through the PIBA, so they don't understand the concept that what actually is the practical business analysis and what is theory. So high chances that if they are giving referral, high chances that they might qualify those opportunities and all. And team, let me tell you this very, very confidently. I have observed, if you are committed, again, even if you know nothing about business analysis, all you need to succeed is 3 months. If you are genuinely committed, I can show you one of okay, just give me a second. I'm going to take you through one of a group for the real results and all that. So let me stop sharing my screen. And then I'll talk about how you can apply for that program. So resharing my screen. I'm trying to take you through one of my recent batch. Quick second. Resharing my screen. Okay. Is my screen visible? Do you see that WhatsApp group with 27 September and all? Anyone? Okay, cool. Thank you. So look at this. There was one of my alumni. Her name is Pragya. Look at this. So this was 27th September 2025. This someone, so again, when we concluded the program, we concluded on, which date was it? 26th or 27th, we concluded. And just within 2 weeks, if you go down, yes, this is the news. I just want to share, doing PIBA course really made a big difference. Before this, I wasn't getting selected anywhere. Right now, after completing the course, started getting interview call and finally got selected. Whatever, and then look at this. Last 1 year, I was jobless and soon after the course. So team, I would also recommend all of you that. Again, I know that nowadays at tech, there is a lot of trust issues with, I will not name the companies and all, but I know that what is the bad practice happening in. I would always recommend all of you that. Team, it is always important to go ahead and do some bit of research about whosoever is claiming that these many alumni and all that. So one of your way of getting the validation, if you go through my post, so that is also one of a featured post. If you go through this, all of these are the very recent feedback that I've received with the last batch, the same that I was showing you. John, Helen, Swati, Rayan, Kamesh, all of these, Nidhu. 2 things that you're going to see in common. 1, practical, 2nd, interactive. And that is why what we follow is a shortlisting process, so that we are only focusing on the most committed 40 individuals for our program. So those who are sort of interested to be part of the upcoming program and all, so there is a waitlist team. So I will just share with you the link. So if you go through the waitlist, we already have, if you go through, 461 responses coming in for the upcoming session. So what I will recommend all of you is that have patience, fill up the form. Those who are interested to go for any of my upcoming session. I'm sharing this link in the comment section. So what you have to do is fill up this form so that the upcoming batch, again, as per this waitlist and all, I'm able to first get on a call, understanding your reasons of why you want to be the part of the PIBA program and all. Have patience. It can take 2 days, 3 days, a week, maybe 2 weeks of time for me to get back after filtering out your profile and all. And then if you are motivated, committed, then I will be able to let you part of this PIBA program, which is the top 1% BA community. So that is where team, I hope. So Prajwal, all of those, again, BRDs, FRDs and all, those will cover in the program. Very, I would say, early for me to comment on those lines, because it will take, again, each of these documentation will take definitely 2+ hours for you to understand logically that what are the sections and all. So it is not doable that in 2 hours of today's high level session, we are able to cover those concepts. So Again, you can try to go through the free resources, go through the templates and all free resources out there, and try to leverage from those resources. So, team, it's already 2 o'clock. Thanks all of you for again joining today's session. I will just ask all of you for a quick feedback on scale of 5. Was the session insightful, meaningful? If yes, on scale of 5, how much you enjoyed today's session? Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Tushar. Thank you, Chakrapani. Thank you, Rajinder, Hamveer, Srishti. Thank you, Amlop. Thank you, Sumesh. Okay, one last, again, team, my request would be that for you to avail this, again, all these resources that I've covered part of today's session, my only request from all of you would be, I think this is the bare minimum that I can ask. So I'm sharing you the link. Just share your feedback to today's session on this link. All those going to share their feedback, I will definitely be sharing all the content that I've shared part of today's session. So all of you, I'm sharing this link in the comment section. Save this. Later point in time, you can comment your feedback. And then I will definitely be able to support you with the content that I've shared part of today's session. And let me reshare that Google form that you have to fill if you have to join any of the upcoming PIBA program. Make sure that you kind of save it somewhere. The moment you're going to drop off, you might not have access to it. So all of you. And there is also alternative way of applying. If you go through this website, just click on apply now. But from this, it might take a bit of time because of that wait list. If you have to speed it up to be part of the program, just fill up the Google form. I'll try to prioritize. So thanks all. Thank you so much for joining today's session. I hope it was insightful. I'm committed to serve the BA community. I'll be keep on coming with more such insightful session in the near future. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thanks everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you team. Thank you Abhishek. Thank you Tushar. Thank you for having me. Thank you Harshit, Jhansi, Chakrapani if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Thank you Sahili. Thank you Sumesh, Abhishek, Ramachandran. Thank you for having me. Thank you Anand. Thank you Srishti. Thank you for joining. Thank you Ashwini. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you Papul. Thank you Prajwal. Radhika. Thanks Ganesh, Vaishnavi. Thank you so much for joining. Or if we can start dropping off. Thank you so much, Hardika, Ishitak. Sorry with the pronunciation, Ishitak. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. Sorry for that. Thank you, Radhika. So thank you everyone for joining. Enjoy your weekend with your family. I'll see you in the upcoming one. Thanks all. Thanks for having me. Thanks again.